fine looking bunch, I must say. Let's call the meeting to order at 1:30. We need to establish a quorum. Madam Secretary, how do we fare?
We have a quorum.
Let's call the meeting to order at 1:30.
Okay, I'm getting some feedback, Mark.
Okay, hang on. Establish a quorum. Madam Secretary, how do we fare?
There we go. They should be better.
We have a quorum.
Very good. I'll remind everyone, let's be civil to each other as we conduct this meeting. And hopefully we can get through it in good time. So with that, do we have members speaking? I think we have one letter to be read.
She retracted her statement, so there's nothing to be read.
Okay, for the record, it was a concern about Blue Stream, but we've had much good news about the Blue Stream installation, so I can understand why that would be retracted. So we'll hear more about Blue Stream as we get on with the meeting, but that's for later. Let's do a secretary's report.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the July 21st, 2022 board meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Chap seconds that. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carried unanimously. Okay, there's no president's report, so let's go directly to the manager's report, which is what I would say anyway. So Mark, it's all yours.
Okay. You should all have my report. I'm just going to kind of add some things to it while you have it. So the preserved monuments cleared the county for permitting on the interior, which we never understood why the county was asking for permits to change the lettering on those signs in the first place. But Collier County has been a little bit difficult to deal with for everybody that's going through any kind of construction phasing. So they're in the works and they should get done here within the next month. The irrigation report. Now, Russ Geiger, what we asked him and approved at the last session was for him to get together a request for proposal, a complete plan, and then be able to give that information to 3 qualified companies to get bids for. Right now, he has completed his lengthy RFP and the plans are all set. It is a monster amount of information. It's just a huge amount of information because of the size and scope of the project. So what I guess I need to know is if we move forward with this, what he'll do is he'll bring these contractors onto site. They will examine the property. They will go through the entire plan, the specifications of the plan, which includes all the number of feet of pipe, of wire, of connections, of everything. This is for the external loop, main line, and neighborhood loops, so that everything would be ready to go to attach to each person's yard at a given time. That cost estimate would then come back to us. I guess what the board has to do is say, we want to move forward with this and get that cost estimate, and then we can decide what to do. Probably if you want to move forward, have town hall meetings, maybe get some consensus, and then if so, we all know that it's going to be somewhere between 1.8 and 2 million that that it would have to go to the membership for a vote in March, and then probably begin, if they could, begin construction in the summertime. So when we wouldn't need the water. So is that something that I should ask him to do? I'm just kind of.
So here's the question, Mark.
Yeah.
Does the cost estimate cost us anything?
No, we're already there.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I'll leave it to the board for discussion, but I don't see any reason why we wouldn't move forward at this stage, but I'll open it up to the board for comment. John Mulligan.
Yeah, the question I have, and when we get the cost estimates, is it gonna be broken out by area, or do we know that, okay, condos should be charged this? Homeowners should be charged this, or if it's gonna be extra to go to those 360 or 160 different homes that didn't have it before? That can be broken out that way. If not, I think we need that.
I think we can ask them to provide us with the various components of the bid. In other words, there's the main line coming off of the pump stations. It has to circle Wildcat. What is the cost for, circling Wildcat and coming back out? Manatee, the condos, coach homes area, all those 340 units, the clubhouse common areas, all the way through the tennis courts and down the streets, and then of course each of the neighborhoods. I think that that's a viable question. They should be able to break that up because it is all part of the footage. It's all based on probably the feet per linear foot of excavation, or for jetting, or putting in that piping and connecting it to the central control system. So I think we can ask for that. We should be able to get that.
Yeah, I think we need that, and I don't want to nickel and dime everybody. If it's going to be similar, everybody gets charged the same. But there's a big difference. We don't want to cheat somebody, or that way. That's my only feeling.
Lindia.
Yeah, Mark, is there any difference if you are getting your irrigation from reclaimed water? Is there any different in the piping or any of the infrastructure?
Well, reclaimed water is available to those who probably signed up for it some time ago. I don't think that any reclaimed water is available for any current communities and those are the purple pipes that you see if you drive into places like Imperial, on the left-hand side as you drive down Imperial, you see the big purple pipes. That's reclaimed water that they utilize for, I think, golf course irrigation and other irrigation, but that's hard to get because it comes from the wastewater stations. They charge you for that water. They also would charge you to connect it to whatever source there would be for that. I'm not sure. I know that when we were at Vasari, we looked at it and they said that we couldn't get it because all of the permits and requests for reclaimed water had been processed for many years ahead.
Well, then let me reword it too. That can't be done. Are the people who are having their irrigation waters come out of the ponds, is there any difference in the infrastructure that is needed for them as opposed to the ones that aren't?
Well, the ones that are in Sanctuary Point and Deer Creek that are on city water now all they would do is get a new pipe running through either their front or backyard, where they would take and disconnect their city water where it comes off of the city water pipe and connect it to the irrigation pipe. That's all that they would do. It's like taking your hose off the wall and putting it on another hose bib.
So which communities are on their own irrigation as far as the pond water?
Everybody is on pond water completely except for Sanctuary Point, 104 homes, and I think about 36 homes in Deer Creek.
Thank you. So basically you're talking one pipe to take it out, difference sort of. Okay.
Right.
But that would be good to break it out, financially, but okay, thank you.
Okay, agreed. Okay.
Any other questions for Mark before Chap? Go ahead.
Yeah, Mark,
And then
this might
John.
be a good time to just summarize where things stand with the new pump that we put into one of the lakes.
What we did was there was an existing recharge well
Right.
that was working at pump 2, which is down by Willow Bend. That recharge well had, of course, because it hadn't been used in so long, needed a great deal of work to get it back up to specifications for South Florida Water Management District. So that has been done. And now that pump, we understand from Russ Geiger, who did the calculations on it, said if that pump runs 24/7, it'll actually supply the water from the ground to the lake that would take care of the irrigation needs for that, for its current, let's say, the amount of gallons of water that it would put out onto the ground at any given time during its cycle. If you ran that pump on a continuous basis, it would supply enough water to be able to maintain that, the integrity of that, rather than sucking down the lake. So that's something we can definitely look into. And he said that that's specifically what it was made for, not to fill the lake up, but just to supply the water necessary for one cycle during any kind of watering day. In other words, if it's going to water on a Tuesday, it pumps all day Monday, 24 hours. That amount of water going into the lake would be the amount of water that would be utilized on Tuesday for its cycle. That's my understanding from him from a hydrological standpoint. So will the lakes continue to go up and down? Yes, because there's no liner in that lake. However, that pump can supply a continuous feed of water to maintain the integrity of the pumping system, which was what it was intended for.
We should have done that 20 years ago. So that's good news. Okay, John Mihok, you had a question, and then Lanny. You're muted, John.
Am I still muted?
No, you're good.
Okay. Did we ever resolve the question as to whether we needed a new well in addition to new pumps in order to be able to supply the areas that aren't hooked into the pond water now?
No, we don't.
My understanding is that we're restricted in terms of wells, but Mark, go ahead.
Evidently, no, we don't need any new wells. We have sufficient capability with our current groundwater sources.
Well, with the exception of Deer Creek and Sanctuary Point.
Well, evidently, according to his hydrological analysis, that with the central control station and the existing water that we have, being able to control it correctly to provide the watering windows throughout the community specific to its need, there should be sufficient water in the groundwater that we currently have and use to supply all of the community, including Sanctuary Point and Deer Creek, because right now there is no central control on any of the irrigation supplies. In other words, when the condos are running, maybe the clubhouse is utilizing it, or maybe parts of Wildcats using it at the same time as Manatee. I mean, it's all, nobody knows really, to some degree, what one is doing versus what hand's doing to the other, because there's no way of seeing that on any controls, because all of the clocks are separate for any area. We've got about
all of that is good news then.
Yep.
And it's shameful to think that we'd be using potable water to irrigate properties. Any other questions, Lanny?
Yes, back to the Pond 5 recharge well. So am I to understand that once rainy season stops, that well will be turned on, that recharge system?
That's my understanding, yes.
Any other questions? So we can ask Mark to move forward with the RFPs.
Okay, will do.
Okay, let's move on.
All right, just to let, as most of you are down here know, all the tennis court lights are done. Alan and his crew, mostly Randy, who's the new guy on the crew, who is a great guy, has done most of the yeoman's work and putting those poles back together. And they're up and working. And that's an amazing feat as far as I'm concerned, because first, what we found out was that about by 11 o'clock, that black steel of those poles was, you had to wear gloves because it was so hot in the sun down here. So it was a morning job. It was difficult, but they did get it done, and all those lights are up and working. And kudos to them. Brownie?
Small suggestion, which I don't think requires a vote unless some objection. They spent a lot of hours, been a hot summer, a tough job. They saved us a lot of money. At least maybe one next day we're having the lunches that you could invite the crew in and give them a free lunch.
Absolutely.
Penalize them a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll vote for that.
We're talking about 40 or 50 bucks. So I mean, I don't think it was.
As you say, they saved a ton of money on this
They
project.
probably saved the club somewhere in the neighborhood of,
What's that?
probably saved the club in the neighborhood of probably 60 to 80,000.
Yeah, so maybe y'all could invite them to lunch. I think, and Nicole having the lunches now every day,
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
and talk to Alan and have them all for free lunch one day.
Sounds great.
They spent a lot of hours, it's been awful hot out there.
What else, Mark?
The pool resurfacing is moving along. They've got the coping done. They've got, I think today they should finish up the tile along the banding along the edge inside. I can only tell you that there was a lot more wrong with the pool than we first knew. By the time we had drained it all and got it all down, we found several areas of concern that they've been working on to try to get it fixed. Some leaks in the pool. We found some cracks in the actual foundation where we were probably losing water. We found some problems in the surge tank inside of the pool pump room. All of these are being repaired and fixed. We expect water to go back into the pool by next Wednesday. It'll take a while to get that water together and balanced out and whatnot. And that's where you'll see in the board packet that I have a quote from GG Pavers to machine wash all of the pavers on the deck, including from under the pool pavilion out past the cabana all the way to the east side. Take all of those, resand them all so that they're all in tight. Make sure that there's no broken ones or ones that are loose. Fix all of it and then seal that entire deck, which would really make it a little more waterproof, last a little longer. It would also blend a lot of the colors out there. It kind of make that place pop and give us some needed maintenance that hasn't been done on the pool deck for forever. So
Are we sealing the pavers also?
Yes.
And that's part of the proposal that's coming up later in the meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Are we moving along? Blue Stream.
Question on the ceiling.
Yeah.
What about being slippery when it's wet?
No, this is a non-slip ceiling. Yeah,
Okay.
for pool decks. Yeah, it's for pool decks. Anyways, I got a summary report from Blue Stream.
Mark,
What?
going backwards, just give everyone an update on the final resolution on the island.
The island is done. Actually, they put new coping around the edge. All of the pots came off. They cut off and got rid of all of the irrigation, old electric stuff that was in there forever that half of it didn't work. And it's all got pavers on the top of it now. So it's a flat deck. It looks just like the rest of the pool deck. And it's ready to be there for any kind of got these blowers outside here.
So we can put a sculpture of you on the,
Yep, you can put
On
a
top of the
sculpture up there,
pavers.
you can put anything you want up there, just probably nothing that's gonna require water unless the cormies want to water it every day, which
All right,
evidently they
thanks.
do. So, all right, Blue Stream,
Okay, are we through with your report?
no,
no,
Okay. So we have a Blue Stream update coming up as a separate item. Is this part of it or is it separate?
well, I just want to let you know that, you know, we're in the office and with everything else, we're working with Blue Stream on a consistent basis, day to day, fielding the calls. Cezanne and Laura have been doing a great job of taking care of the requests from individuals and passing them on. I do have to give a little bit of shout out to the Blue Stream team, because they have been responsive to our needs. Today they're putting up the TVs. We do have the Wi-Fi going in the house. So all the TVs downstairs and in the fitness and now up in the clubhouse will all be on the Blue Stream platform. So we're looking forward to that. I can just tell you that as of yesterday, 479 people have registered. 296 have been installed, and that was yesterday. So today we're over 300. So we're approximately at 40%, 41% of the population has been taken care of as far as Blue Stream is concerned. We are starting to get calls, and this is something that if all of you that may be watching us on YouTube can tell your friends to please call Blue Stream and get in line to get your installation done. We are expecting an onslaught in October, November when people get back, and it's going to be a little crazy. So the sooner people can get their act together on that, the better it's going to be.
Browning,
Yeah, a couple of things to point out. You probably saw my email about having 2 cuts in lines. And I think but Blue Stream was very good. They got them fixed. And another thing people should be aware of that happened to me, it required a second call, but again, Blue Stream took care of it very well. If you have an internet phone service prior to Blue Stream, you're probably going to have to change the Blue Stream because their internet phone is since they're inside the house, you have Wi-Fi, they're not cables. So I had to switch my phone service to Blue Stream because I had Vonage before, which is an internet service, but they didn't have the capability of having Wi-Fi internet. Understand that? The only thing is be aware if you have an internet phone service prior to Blue Stream, you may have to change your phone to Blue Stream. But they did it, no problem. Guy came and did it, okay? Any question? You understand that?
yep.
Yeah.
Voiceover.
A question for you, Browning.
It required 2 calls from me because I wasn't aware of that. They came in and fixed my TV and cable. And then a couple of days later that day, I discovered I didn't have phone service because of the fact that it didn't work with Wi-Fi inside the house. Okay.
So I have a question for you, Brownie.
Okay.
Where are your earmuffs?
Where what?
Your earmuffs that you usually wear?
My speaker is working better on my computer, so I'm not using it.
Okay, good to know.
Okay, well,
Okay, Mark.
I've got 2 left. One, Paul, you've gotten the update and along with Jill Sanders on the boardwalk from Jeff Nunner. And that can be part of an ongoing project team. We just are decisions moving forward later in the fall, probably to take a look at that. But we do have some information from that. We have all the surveys, the people ready to go if the boardwalk is to move forward. And that'll just be up to you folks to decide whether or not want to go forward and how do you want to deal with that. And I'll let that lie. The last is that I'm asking you folks to approve, to allow me to contact Jerry Schoenfeld and bring Jerry back on property to do another update on the strategic plan survey. I think with all the new people that we have, really, I think it's been almost 4 years now. At the end of this year will be 4 years since we've had that last survey for the strategic plan. I don't think we need to go into the full, strategic plan with, like we did with the focus groups and all of that. But I do think that a updated demographic survey to find out who the new people are, what they are, and what their viewpoints on the property and the community future is from a strategic standpoint. Are they interested in moving one way or the other? Is landscape still the number one item on their list? And I think it'd just be a great update. I don't think it would cost that much, and it probably would be a good thing for us to probably either get done in late fall, early spring. Probably would be a great time. We could maybe have those results for the annual meeting. So that's
I would concur. I think that's a good idea. The strategic plan has served us well in the past, and it continues to serve us. But there are aspects of it that we've completed, and it's time to move on. And I think that was an excellent, healthy process. And I think I would agree with you that we should not go into the depth that we did originally. But I think it would take very little effort to continue with the process. How do the rest of you feel about that?
Comment. Maybe my memory's bad, but I thought we did that your last year you were president before, Paul. So
I wasn't president
it hasn't
last
been
year.
4 years. It's been maybe 2-3 years at most, maybe 2 years.
Well, that may be, but it doesn't matter.
We finished it right at the end of your last term. So it hadn't been that 4 years.
It was
Okay.
part of the renovation.
A little bit about 4 years. So we didn't do it the first year I was on the board.
Well, the point is, that's neither here nor there. The point is, much of the plan has been realized, and some of it is left to be done. And then there's always, where do we go from here? And a good board would look in the future and say, what is our vision? Where do we want to be in 2 years, 3 years? So I think it's time again to take a look at it. That's my view, at least, but let's hear from the rest of you. Lanny.
I agree. I support an update of the strategic plan, particularly focusing on some of the issues that we've been discussing. Just for everyone's information, the last plan was finalized in June of 2020. So by June of 23, it'll be 3 years.
Okay, John Mulligan.
I agree. I think it's a good thing to do.
I think it's a good process for everyone to look down the road a bit. So unless there are any objections, we'll contact Jerry Schoenfeld and see what he can do for us. We'll come back to the board if it costs us a bunch of money. If it costs us a little, well, we'll find out. I'll make a judgment. If it's a small amount, we'll just go ahead and line them up. If it's a significant amount of money, we'll bring it back to the board. If you're okay with that, we'll move along.
I am done.
You're done. Let's go to the Blue Stream update. Who's doing that, Mark?
Me, and I did.
Okay, that was my question earlier.
Suzanne, do you have anything to add to the Blue Stream update other than that for the information that I kind of gave in the report there? Because I added the information that they had sent from the numbers of installs and whatnot. I had not received that at the time I did my report. I got that yesterday, so that was kind of the update that we need.
Yep, I just think the biggest point of information to get out there is if you're not here, schedule your installation appointment sooner than later, because I think everybody's going to be fighting for that end of September, beginning of October time space, and their appointments, they can only do about 10 a day, I believe is what they're they're trying to make themselves comfortable with so they can have follow-up appointments for people too. So if you're not here, everybody watching on YouTube, call today. Their local phone number specifically for Sterling Oaks to schedule your installation appointment.
Do you have to be there for the installation?
Somebody needs to be present. And they, as we're aware, if you've already had it done, they will be drilling a hole in your home for their new, I believe this is an ONT. So have somebody of trust that you're okay with, maybe FaceTiming you, make sure you're okay with that location. But somebody does need to be present.
Okay, Lanning?
I have 2 questions and a comment. First, I've been getting a lot of complaints from neighbors in my community or people that I see around. They've been very frustrated that when they call for problems, they don't hear anything for days and days. I've been referring them to Eric, and he sent me a list of options of ways that people can contact them, including a web portal similar to what we have with Brightview, and told me that those tickets are being followed. I suggested that be sent out in FYI news so that people know that. Is that planned?
Yep, all those links are available on our website in the Blue Stream article, and the article will be linked again on our Friday FYI. So I don't encourage people to call Eric directly. Call the 239 number, leave Eric alone. He's been great and so helpful. But it's now time that Mark and I kind of assist, and with the assistance of Blue Stream. So if you're getting any questions and they are not getting answers, just have them reach out to Mark or myself, and we can kind of help.
Okay,
Yes,
well, I knew Mark
I
was
would
away.
piggyback on that statement and call the office, Cezanne or Mark. Eric does not work for us. He's not an employee. So he's doing a fine job as a volunteer. So let's keep him happy and contact Mark or Cezanne for issues and concerns. Lanny?
I didn't think that the portal information has been in the previous articles. Is that
Yep,
is in there?
The
Okay, I'll
article's a
double check.
live feature, so it was updated the other day,
Okay.
last week or so.
Oh, okay, all right. And that's, but then we need something that, okay. I guess
Yeah,
I didn't know there
Just
was
check
new
the
information.
FYI on Friday, and there'll be a direct link to the article.
Okay, okay.
So Lanny,
thank
you have a comment.
Just that people are in general, more people are unhappy than are happy at this point in time. There's a lot of postings on Next Door Neighbor. People are waiting on the phone for a half hour, then the call gets dropped. And there just have been a lot of concerns with the service up to this point in time. Occasionally there are positive comments, and of interest, the very same technician will get rave reviews from one person, but when they're working at 4 in the afternoon, they seem to be ready to leave and not doing nearly as good a job. So that it's not totally smooth yet at all. And I just want to reinforce that need for people to be working on it early, because it's my understanding people will have nothing starting October 1 from Summit. It may get very messy.
I can only tell you, I've talked to 3 or 4 other general managers who are going through some of this. And it's it's the same everywhere.
I'm not surprised, but
because,
I didn't want Paul to think
everybody-
it's all going well, because
They
it's
don't-
not.
Well, I can only tell you from our standpoint, and the amount of complaints that we're getting are not as frequent and as brutal as I've heard. I imagine there are a lot on Next Door, but then again, there's a lot of people that are very don't like change, and this is a significant change. And the other communities that I'm talking to, one particular went live, switched out from Comcast and went to Bluestream as of July 1st. They still have over 150 homes still have not switched, that do not have the new. And that's simply because the people aren't in town, and regardless of what they've tried to get the people to do to move forward, the obstinance is and apathy has created a real bottleneck for them as well. So I expect us to go through the same heartbreak and angst that we've had with the Lightstream Summit and now Bluestream. So but we'll bear with it, and hopefully we'll come out the other side and we'll all be good.
And
And
when
then
are there people going to
Comcast-
be on, when are there people going to be on site the way the contract promises?
I have a meeting with them tomorrow, and I will get that interest. I don't think that we want to put anybody in here yet. They've talked about being down here at the end of September, because that's when people will start coming back into town. If they're here today, most of the time it's just people who are on the phone. They're only doing 10 installs a day. So there's not enough people in property. We've got 300 that have already been done. That's a lot of the people that are here. We don't have 600 people on property. So to have a concierge sitting in here from 9 to noon, 3 days a week, they'd see 3 people. It doesn't make sense for them to spend their time that way.
I did want to
Okay.
make a comment that
Go ahead, Cezanne.
while in Mark's absence on his fabulous vacation, anybody that contacted me, Brownie can probably speak of this. I contacted Bluestream and they resolved the matter or reached out to the matter within 24 hours. So if there's a whole bunch of negative comments on Nextdoor of issues, they just need to reach out to us and we can try to help them. Because I'm not hearing, I mean, we're having a little frustrations with some installs, but most of the feedback I'm getting is very positive.
Browning.
One thing, Bluestream is clear, and our expectations is there will be a lot of people that will be doing this after October the 1st. Because there's a lot of, I mean, they do understand that, right? And it's okay if some doesn't get here in November and they get it done then, right?
Yes.
And Bluestream understands that. Right? And I would agree with Lanny, the technician, because of the phone and the thing, I've had 3 people show up. They've all been excellent in the work they did. I will agree with Lanny, though, in trying to contact their number, they seem to be a little understaffed. In other words, you do wait a long time, and it's hard to get hold of someone on their, even the local number that we have. So I do agree with that, Lanny. I think it's a little understaffed. But of course, everything's going on right now, so they probably, it's a difficult thing for them right now.
Well, let
But
me
they're not-
summarize that this is a difficult process. I've been on the board many years, back when we had Comcast and no one liked Comcast. We went to Lightstream. It was a tough transition with Lightstream. Took quite a while. Not everyone was happy. Then we eventually moved to Summit. The same sort of thing happened. And people were unhappy, then people were happy, and now we're in another phase with Bluestream. So in my perspective, I don't see anything very unnatural with what's going on currently. It's a difficult process, a difficult time. We'll get through it. It sounds like we have a pathway. So let's just plug away until we get there. Let's move on. Can we go now to committee reports?
I think you skipped the treasurer's report.
You're right, I did. Excuse me. Let's do the treasurer's report, and I'm kind of excited about the investment policy. I think it was very well done. I think it's impressive, and I'm going to let John talk about it.
All right, so everybody received the report, so I'll just go over some of the highlights. Cash is remaining strong. We had a 12,000 unfavorable variance to budget for the month, but we expected that. We're still 50,000 favorable to budget for the year. 2023 reserve study is underway. The 2023 budget process has started. Fidelity's up and running. The current interest rate for 1 year treasury is 3.43, which is great for the cash. But the reason it's so high is not good because inflation's going crazy. So as we talked before, we do intend to put another $400,000 into Fidelity to take advantage of that interest rate. And that could get us up to another $14,000 of interest to hit the bottom line. I think that's it. Any questions on a month's activities or any of that?
The first line, if we have a net income of 24, was that a negative? We had less income than we expected?
Yeah, it's red. It's in red.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, I got it.
We had a budget of minus
It's like a
12.
negative income, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That answers that. I
Okay.
understand now.
Okay, John, tell us about the investment policy.
Okay, so you've all received a copy of the proposed investment policy, which was developed by the Finance Committee. The purpose of this policy, so we have an official document of what we can invest in, the duties and responsibilities of the board, the Finance Committee, the treasurer, and the management regarding such activities. We never had one of these before. Most organizations do, and we should, even though we don't have much investment, but right now we do. And it's a smart thing, so you can't have somebody just run rampant and invest what they want, where they want, and how they want.
So John, make a motion, please.
Yes. Okay, I make a motion to adopt the policy, the investment policy.
I second it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ken Swallen seconds the thing. Let's have a discussion. Lindia. You're muted, Lindia.
You're muted. Lindy, you're muted.
Okay,
There you go.
Okay.
okay. My question, John, is, are these insured, just like CDs would be insured?
Yeah,
Now you're talking about the
Investment.
actual investment. You're not talking about the policy now.
No, are we just voting on the policy?
Yes, we have a motion on the floor to pass the policy.
Well, I don't want to vote on a policy until I have an answer to my question.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, John,
It's on page 3.
Yeah,
and any investment we make, if you look at bullet point number 2 on the proposal, it says the fixed income obligations must be guaranteed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. That
Okay.
means we're not going to invest in anything that isn't insured.
so
I
there's no
believe.
amount, there's no maximum.
That I,
What do you
John,
mean there's no maximum?
It insures whatever amount you got.
Okay, well, there's 3 different types of investments we talked about having there. First one are the CDs. CDs insured up to $250,000 FDIC. Okay. The second one, which we are all investing in right now, are treasury bonds.
Mm-hmm.
Treasury bonds aren't insured, but they're backed by the United States. So
Okay,
unless, yeah. The
that's what I
third
want.
one, which is on there that we could possibly invest into if the rates are phenomenal, is called what they call commercial paper. Commercial paper are only issued by AAA rated company, blue chip companies, and financial institutions. So
And those are not insured?
those are not insured, but the failure rate of those are nil.
No, yeah, pretty minimum. Okay, thanks, John. I just wanted a clarification.
No, I understand. And, you know, for us to do commercial paper, the rates would have to be phenomenal. Right
Sure.
now, they're like a point or 2 less than what we're getting in treasury bonds. So, but if it
Okay,
does switch, that's something we could invest in, and they are very, very, very good. Only issued by high quality companies.
okay.
Very
thank you.
good. Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Lanny,
We have
Lanny
Lanny,
has a question.
Lanny, and then Brownie.
John, I think in general, this is excellent. I appreciate the work that went into it. My question is, it appears that once we pass this policy, the board would not ever need to vote again on any investments. And even though I have no concerns about that in the short term, I'm concerned long-term about this full delegation to the finance committee and treasurer without any kind of periodic vote from the board. And I wonder if you considered anything like that.
No, because what we're putting, this policy says we only can invest in 3 things. And I don't think we need to get a vote from the board every time we want to buy, like, I plan to buy maybe $200,000 to $400,000 worth of treasury bonds in the next couple of weeks. I don't think we have to go to the board to get that approved. If I want to invest in XYZ company, yes, but we can't because the policy says we can't.
Okay. But again, my concern isn't what you want to do in the next few months, because we did last month or the month before, I forget which, approve some specific investments in your general plan. But for those of us that have been around, we know that we've had treasurers who never called their finance committee together and were extremely independent. And I just want to make sure that we're not putting ourselves at risk for potential problems in the future with a policy that totally delegates everything away from board.
I don't think we are.
Okay.
And we have the policy in place to prevent that. I mean, if I or another treasurer over invest, first of all, I don't think that will happen because Mark and Cezanne won't they'll tell me how much we can invest. So I won't invest. If they say we should only invest 200 grand, I'm not gonna tell, let's take 500,000 out and invest it. That's,
And
can't
also,
Yeah, again, I'm not concerned about you,
but no one
yes,
can.
I understand. Let me translate. I think that we have to put our faith in the board and the people that make up this board. And we have to put some faith in the finance committee and faith in our treasurer. To that end, anyone can bring a motion at a meeting and redirect where we're going at any given time, and the board can take action. So I'm not too concerned about where we are. I think the investment policy is fantastic. And we're in good stead with the board, the finance committee, and our treasurer. So I would recommend we move along. I want to hear from Brownie and then Lindia.
Okay, I have the same concern as Lanny. But not today, but once you put this, 6, 7 years ago from now, it could be. So I think there needs to be something where the board's not out of it. And one option is, I don't see the need for the complication of the commercial paper. That's what I would concern about. If someone sees something that looks very attractive, that's a higher risk, it's not insurance, decides to do it, the board didn't vote on it, it could become a real problem, okay? So I'm not making a motion, but I might consider a motion that on the commercial property, that would have to be approved on a commercial
Paper.
funds, that would have to be brought to the board just because of the higher risk. Plus, if we're only talking 25% in the amount of money, we're not talking a lot of dollars for that complication and that risk. So that would be, my suggestion is to maybe amend that. Before I make the motion, I guess I'd see if anybody else would support making that restriction on the commercial paper. It would kind of.
I don't think that would be a big
concern and Lanny's concern, I think.
I don't think that would be a big issue, John. We could make that amendment to the policy.
I don't have a problem with that.
Could I add something?
Sure.
So in that case, when John wants to make one of those financial decisions, when things are just right to buy paper, I think he shouldn't have to wait for the next board meeting. I think that's when you have the emergency meeting that we turned down before that we can't do now, where everybody gets to vote or you get to call them, because financial decisions are time sensitive.
Well, with Zoom, we can call a meeting pretty quickly now.
Yeah, we can have an
think-
emergency
Call a
meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, then that
Chap-
would be it.
I think this is unnecessary, John Mulligan. If he comes to us and says, hey, I want to put $25,000 into commercial paper from Kellogg's so they can make their payroll, which is way commercial paper, it's used for short-term cash needs. And I just can't see why we need to vote on whether or not we're going to invest X amount of money in Kellogg's or General Mills or Amazon or Apple or you name it. That's the kind of companies that the treasurer would decide to make in a commercial paper investment. So
Yeah, I don't think
I'm not
that's the
in favor of
issue.
this
Let's
amendment at all.
clarify what we mean about commercial paper. Would you do that?
Why don't you explain, John, what commercial paper is?
I'm hearing stocks is what I'm hearing. What are you?
No, what commercial paper is it's exactly what Chap just said. Commercial paper is issued by your strongest companies and financial institutions in the world. It's for short-term, anywhere from 30 days to 270 days debt. They do that so they don't have to, most time they do it so they don't have to go issue a big debt restructuring debt thing and incurring all the expense of that. So it's
My
short-term.
understanding is the issue is not whether or not the treasurer should choose a particular option or not. It's whether or not the treasurer has the option at all to make the choice without coming to the board.
I think so.
Lanny.
I support Brownie's concern about commercial paper. For example, earlier this year, one might have thought that Abbott was a very safe company. And then there was all the problems when they had to shut down. So that I think that there could be unexpected things that either dropping these or making a requirement for a board vote for commercial paper would be appropriate.
Okay.
It would seem to me that that would be a rarity anyway. So why don't we just amend the policy to handle this request?
I don't have a problem even taking the commercial paper out. That's fine.
Okay.
But back to your thing of Abbott, they had a problem. They were nowhere near going bankrupt, anything happening to that company. So that was not a good example to bring.
Okay.
But I don't have a problem if people don't want commercial paper in there, because I'm not sure how often we would actually use that. It was just a
Exactly.
good option to have if we did, but if people are concerned, then I don't have a problem. We could take commercial paper out and just leave it with treasury and CDs. I think it's a good thing to have, but
So let's do that. And if there's an opportunity for commercial paper, then you can bring it to the board and we can do it that way.
Right.
So
So
we'll
John,
still have that option.
John, will you just remove that and then we don't need to amend your motion?
yes, we'll take out the commercial paper
Good.
verbiage and we'll just stick with the other two.
Are we ready to vote? Let me say this as a preamble
You have to
before
make
the
a
vote.
motion to take the commercial paper out before we can vote them. So I'll
No,
make a motion
we
to
just
take-
agreed that it will not be in there. He's
but
not
we-
putting it
Since we
in.
have a motion on the floor, we just can't agree. We have to vote on it. So I'll make the motion, we take the commercial paper out. Somebody second, we vote to take it out.
All right, I second that.
You understand?
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No one opposed, it carries unanimously, then the policy well, I guess we'll vote on your motion, John. We have a second.
I'll second.
Before we take the vote, I want you to know that I asked Jason Mikey's to review the policy and he gave it his stamp of approval. I also asked Mr. Swallen to take a look at it, given his background, and he likes it also. So we have that behind this policy. So now, without further discussion, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you, John. That's a fine piece of work.
Oh, thank you. Thanks to the Finance Committee.
And
Did a
thank
good
the
job.
Finance Committee for it.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah. Okay, what do we have next? Landscaping.
Activities.
Oh,
Activity.
yes, I'm sorry. Activities.
Okay. There will be no Labor Day celebration this year, as the pool may or may not be completed by that time. We're hopeful it will be, but it is too close to call. Obviously, it isn't going to be. September 20th is the book club meeting. The book is The Paris Library by Janet Scallion Charles. The meeting is in the clubhouse. October 14th, Friday dining with music by New York Rhythm. We're expecting to have this event at the pool. October is Medicare Mary at 1:30 Clubhouse. This is a free event and it is a chance for you to find out if you have the correct Medicare plan or if there is a better one that will save you money. She is paid by Medicare, so it doesn't matter to her what plan you have. She will help you find the best one for a supplemental. Other Sterling Oaks members have discovered that and are spreading the word as to how pleased they are with the info they received. Just bring your Medicare info and have her look it over for you. That's in October, Medicare Mary at 1:30. November 15th is the welcome back party. Romgo is planning events for January through April. More details later. Girls Night Out has booked most of their events, and it looks like a great season of fun, educational, and charitable events. The concert series is now fully booked. 4 great concerts in our own backyard. Don't forget to get your season tickets. There will be a lot of info to let you know when the tickets will go on sale. Keywords to remember for the concerts. January 30th, 80s. February 13th, Renegade, big band, good singers. March 6th, Motors. And last but not least, number 4, March 27th, Hot Brass, a fabulous premier big band will bring you to your feet. Think Chicago and Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Just for a little side information, some of these bands are at like Motowners are at Artist Naples. Price for the individual concert is twice what we are charging. So get your seat. The next activities meeting is October 11th at 10 o'clock. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions of Lindia?
And then they're all scheduled to be outdoor.
Yes,
What do we do if you get a heavy rain? How do we accommodate?
indoor.
I mean, we have enough room to do indoor.
Yeah, I guess because we can use the outside veranda.
Or we go to Lindia's place.
That's right. Oh, doors open. Hey, pray for no rain. How about that one?
Yeah. Okay, any other questions of Lindia? If not, we'll move to landscaping.
The landscaping committee met on August 16th. If you're here, you'll see that new plantings have been installed around the clubhouse, which was the top priority for the landscaping committee. Brightview proposals for new plantings for the condo and preserve entrances have been approved and are attached for board approval. We're monitoring several maintenance issues. The tree survey I talked about last time, we hadn't gotten the official dollar proposal, but that's attached. I've repeated the clubhouse water feature information because that is still the recommendation from the landscaping committee. Mark is waiting for more information from Octopus Arts and another contractor, but we don't have anything new from them. Do you want the votes now, Paul, or under new business?
I think we can do it now.
Okay, then I move to propose, to approve the proposal from Brightview for the landscaping at the condo entrance at a cost of $2,485.86. And for the Arbor Note tree inventory at a cost of $5,016.71.
Okay, do I have a second?
Please. Could you separate the motions? I might want to vote for one and against one.
Okay,
So you make two
I
separate
take that back. I'm only moving right now for the condo entrance plantings.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Chap seconds. Any discussion? If not, we will take a vote. All in favor of these plantings, signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed, carries unanimously. Second motion, Lanny.
Let me just add to that, there'll be an additional proposal later. Dustin didn't get the details in on time, but we're also recommending a bed of crotons in the area by the mailboxes, sort of behind the bench on that east side, where it's now just grass and kind of bare and nothing. Some of the crotons that'll be removed will be moved there, in addition to some new crotons, but you'll see that next or later. Okay, now I'd like, I move that the board approves the proposal from Brightview for the Arbor Note tree survey on the common area properties at a cost of $5,016.71.
Okay, I need a second.
I'll second.
Lindy, a second. Discussion.
I'll just remind everyone, this is what we've been working on in order to develop a policy for replacing aging trees within the community. When questions came up earlier this year from homeowners wanting to have some older trees removed, it was recognized that no one knows which trees we have, which are healthy, which are at risk of damaging property, et cetera. And this will give us a baseline and can be used to add new plantings so that we can develop a long-range plan where we might, for example, remove X number, maybe 5 trees, 1 year and plant, and then have a plan for replacing trees over decades.
Okay, any other questions? I think this is kind of forward-looking and would uphold the value of our property throughout the community. Kind of makes sense to me. Brownie?
Lanny, this
Yes.
is just for common area trees, right?
That's correct. The Architectural Standards Committee is considering the same thing for private property, but I understand they have not yet made a decision, but we want to get moving on the common area. There is a proposal from Brightview for the private homes, but it hasn't been approved by ASC yet. And Brightview doesn't care whether we do them both together or start on one, because they'll be reported separately.
Michael, do you have a question?
Yes. Will this report give us analysis tree by tree?
Tree by tree with computerized marking of exactly where that tree is, the current health of the tree, whether it's close to damaging something next to it, et cetera. Every single tree.
It's hard.
And it could also be done for private property if ASC gets around to considering that part of it. That's just not our purview.
But Lanny, with even just for the common areas, it's hard for me to believe they can do that in 48 hours with the number of trees we have. I mean, I haven't counted them, but boy, they're endless pretty much.
Well, they did count them to come up with this proposal, and it's not a 48-hour time frame. It's 48 working hours.
Yeah, it's 6 working days.
But that's their proposal, so.
And they're gonna include like the pine trees up here in Sanctuary Point that are on common property. They didn't miss some of the common property, did they?
Mark may know more details than I do, but they know what, it's the company that's working here, so they know our common
They only
property.
know what common property is if we tell them. Are we sure they included, just for example, there's a lot of pine trees and other trees on this drainage area up here in Sanctuary Point,
Right.
which gets kind of neglected in general, okay? Landscaping and everything else.
Well, let's be sure to tell them.
We will follow up and make sure that that's included, but I'd be shocked if it's not.
Okay, any other questions in this regard? If not, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and/or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
One opposed, Browning. Motion carries. Thank you, Lanny. Are we through with the report?
My report's done.
Oh,
Thank you.
Now tennis.
Let's move to tennis.
okay, my report's very short, although let me say that I anticipated that first of all, our membership is 365, 348 Sterlings and 17 Oaks, about 28% are homeowners. It's down maybe 10 or 15 from our height early this year, but that's always expected. This is the summer. It goes back up when we start the season, people come back. I have in the handout the shade structure between courts 8 and 9 was complete. Well, they were working on it last week. They got the concrete in. They didn't get the shelter up, so I'll just say I jumped the gun, but it should be finished here very shortly. I think they're letting the concrete cure, okay? Court resurfacing was completed on 2, 3, 11, and 12, and it included new drainage at the south ends of Court 2 and 3, which has been an area every time we rain, it always taken a longer time for the, I guess, whatever that is, the south end of 2 and 3 to drain water stands there. Based on the 2 rains we've had since then, it seems to be working pretty good. And they did put in a pipe with some stone and all of that to improve the drainage. So that's all I had, unless anyone had any questions.
Good to hear. Chap.
Yeah, Champ.
Browning, I'm sure you'll defer this to Mark, but on the subject of shade structures, I'm interested in knowing where we stand on the shade structure for pickleball.
It was put up before the one in tennis. Remember the orders.
Is it there?
No,
Maybe Ken knows.
it's not.
Mark, am I remembering that we had the 2 orders and the tennis was?
We had a complication with Collier County in terms of hard space. And
While
we
While
were
Mark
slow.
was
Go
while
ahead.
Mark
Steve.
was away, I worked with a gentleman, Jim, that I guess is with Jeff Nunner, and signed some notice of commitment that was submitted with the county. We're still fighting on permitting for the pickleball awning. So that's still in the county's hands.
Okay,
Mark,
we've already
wait,
paid for it, I think.
We have a deposit down, on that one.
Okay,
Is my memory wrong? I thought at one point you said the shade structure in pickleball was being put up. It was confused. It was the tennis supposed to be done and they did the shade. That didn't get done?
There's an existing shelter there. We're talking about a second one that's going in.
There'd be a third one then, I guess.
No, a second one.
Well, there was one, Mark, do you know what do you remember that
Yes, there's only one shelter at the pickleball that's up now. We have been trying to put the second one up for quite some time. Naples
Yeah.
Awning has all the materials and ready to go. It's just that the county has not approved the permitting for it because they didn't like, they
okay.
didn't get
So
the
you-
engineering.
They got the materials for it earlier, but they just didn't do it. Okay,
Haven't
that's
done
what
it
I
yet.
was confused about. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
so my memory's right.
Okay, does that conclude your report, Brown?
Yeah, that's,
Thank you for that. And that's good news on courts 3 and 4.
2 and 3,
2 and 3.
2 and 3.
Okay, any old business? None that I can see.
No, we got amenity project team report.
You're right. You're right. So Lanny, you were the leader of the project team. We await your report.
Before.
Yes, Brownie.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, it's later on. I said we didn't vote on the pool thing, but that comes afterwards. Okay.
You should have received a copy of the project team's report about a week ago. The summary and recommendations on the first 5 pages are the key takeaway messages from the project team. You'll also see an outline of how we got to those recommendations, as well as background material, including the membership comparison, information on our current Clubhouse and social memberships, and then all the data reports that were compiled that we used, that the project team used to come up with the recommendations. I don't think I need to read the report to you, so I'd like to entertain questions. Yes. Chap.
First of all, I thought this was a good report and well done.
Thank you.
As far as I can tell, you've got 2 separate issues that this report covers. Issue number 1 is, do we need to take some action to restrict amenities use somehow for non-members? And the answer to that question, or that issue, I think, if I can paraphrase it, is we don't have a problem. So we don't need to do anything. Is that right, Lanny?
Well, we don't have a problem, or the project team believes that there's no problem with non-resident tennis members. One of the parameters we used was looking at the benefit of these members versus their usage of our amenities. We do think that there's not evidence that Clubhouse members and social members are paying appropriately for the services that, or the amenities that they're receiving, so that we have a different sense on those memberships and have those recommendations about those.
Well, that's a separate issue. I'm talking
Right.
about overall big picture. And again, I'm
Big-
oversimplifying it. We
Okay.
don't really have a problem with non-members getting access to the amenities.
Well, in particular, there's not a problem that homeowners don't have access to amenities because of non-resident members.
Okay.
I think that's the perspective of our homeowners' concerns, is that there is this myth that they're not getting to use amenities because of these outside people, and there's not evidence to support that.
Okay.
That was the original premise of
That
the
was the-
project team.
That was why this project team was formed in the first place.
Yes, there was a perception out there that amenities, homeowners are being restricted because of the amenities. And the other question was, why are we selling the amenities to non-residents anyway? Why do we do that? And is it that critical to recruit tennis members based on access to our amenities? Or would they just buy the membership anyway because they want to play tennis and they're not interested in swimming at our pool because they have their own pools? That was the original premise.
Right. Well, I don't know if I need to follow up on that, but the second issue addressed in this report is, do we do anything with the cost of clubhouse memberships and social memberships? That's a second issue.
Yes, and we can, but you're right, that's a second issue. I want to hear from John and then Ken.
One thing I see is, I read through this and I agree, it's a very good report, very inclusive. But we've always talked, Paul's always talked, and I and a lot of other people talk about his perception. We had 5 events that were at capacity. So does that mean that people were not allowed to get in?
It's my understanding that other than people asking to get in on the very last day, after food had already been ordered, that no homeowners were turned away. That Nicole does a really good job of squeezing people in and looking for cancellations, etc. But people who asked to come on the last day were turned away because there wasn't going to be food.
I agree with that. I don't have a problem with that, but should we give residents a heads up or a day a week to be able to get into these high ticketed events?
We talked about that a lot.
Even though it might not affect it according to you in this report, but the perception is that it does. We heard at the last meeting. So by giving the residents a week, whatever time frame it is, to get in before the rest of the people, then we could get rid of that perception.
Yes, we did study this. We did not treat that lightly, and we went through quite a discussion about this. And Mark, Cezanne were included in this. I'd like your response to that question.
Well, I'd also like people to turn to page 10 of the report, because there's critical information there to answer this question. And I can summarize that.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Yeah, one of the things that we looked at is that, okay, are people being, are these things being closed out, within just a couple of days, so that, people aren't getting a chance. And you'll see that for the at capacity events, the majority of the events did not reach capacity until 14 days, 19 days, 28 days, etc. That these are not things that a 3-day or 1 week early opening would make a difference for, with the exception of the bocce final luncheon, which was an indoor event where capacity made a difference, and that doesn't involve any non-members. So that we then looked at, well, yes, it would address perception if we did this, but F&B and management told us that would then greatly complicate their reservation system, because they would have to find a way to record reservations for only homeowners and renters, not any non-members, even though sometimes people want to register as a group, and some of the people would be in one group and some others, so they'd have to get a table for 6 that they wanted to change to 8, 3 days later, et cetera, et cetera. So given the potential disadvantages and confusion that could come up from that, the committee voted against making any changes to that, even though we totally agree it would sound good to people. But if in fact they're not being cut out during the first week, and it's only going to make life more miserable for our staff, there didn't seem to be a good reason to do it.
Cezanne and Mark, I'd like to hear from the two of you.
Well, the one thing that logistics is part of the problem when we deal with that. This is what happens is that in a lot of instances, you have an event that let's just say it starts to get filled up. And then you have people talking about, well, are you going to the event? Yes, I'm going to go to the event. Well, do you think I can come too? I don't know. Let's see if I can get you in at my table. Then they start to, so they add, and then we move forward. Now we get down to the last 3 or 4 days of the event, and we have these people going, oh, I didn't realize it was getting so busy. I need to come. So can you put me in? And Nicole, bless her heart, does a great job of accommodating all of those needs at the last minute. The only time that problem exists is when we have a confined space that literally there's just not enough room regardless to be able to manage the population. The clubhouse is a perfect example of that. And the pool area to some degree is too. You can only get 100 and so many people in the pool area. There's just the square footage of individuals is just the way it is. What happens is if we took half the board and said, you can make a tea time 7 days in advance, and the rest of you have to wait until 3 days in front. But 2 of you want to play together. But you can't tell the other person he can come and play in your group until that time frame has passed. That's okay. I'm going to go find something else to do. No, it's okay. Just wait. By the time that happens, now, then nobody wants to make a reservation because they can't determine whether or not it's okay. And this is the thing that Nicole said. The fairest thing that we have going is what we do. We open it up 2 weeks in advance, a month in advance for the biggies like New Year's Eve and Valentine's Day. Gives everybody an opportunity to get their ducks in a row and figure out what's going on. Even the concert series are going to be open for a month in advance, and I don't even think there's no VIP. There's nothing. It's just general admission. So really, there's not going to be any kind of problem with getting in first.
I want to give John Mulligan a chance to comment, then go to Ken, then Lindia, then Chap.
I'm not sure if I like the answer, but I don't know if I could argue it. I still think there's perception. I'm still going to have people bitching and complaining, but if it's going to create other problems, and somehow we have to make sure the big items that I know we do it, but more broadcasted more or something so people know, so they can't use, I didn't know about it. I don't like it, but I understand what you guys are saying.
I think I'm in the same position you're in, John. I've come to see it a little differently. Ken?
I'm coming to see that a little bit differently also. The other question I had, though, was on the pool. And the report says that everybody comes in the morning to the pool. If you walk like I do and walk by the pool in the morning, the people in the pool are the exercisers. In the afternoon is when the people are sitting around and filling the chairs, and yet it doesn't reflect in the numbers. I don't know why it doesn't reflect in the numbers. Is it because people come in as families then, and therefore the chairs are all full with families? Because only one person has to swipe their badge.
Right.
I agree with Ken. I'm there as much as anybody. And yes, the afternoons, late morning and afternoons are the craziest times, no doubt. So
the data collection has not been perfect, but it's been pretty good. It's been fairly accurate, but it's not perfect.
Remember this, this graph on page 22 is the time that people enter. We don't have any information on how long they stay. So it could be that people are entering all day long and not leaving, and that's why, or only few of them are leaving, and that's why it's actually more crowded in the afternoon. We have no data actual occupancy. These are strictly pool entry data, because that's all we have. And
Well,
as Kim points out, it's only if
Also, I
people
think
swipe their
if we
card.
looked at how many people are served at the cabana and at what times a day they're served, we would find that we have a lot more people served in the afternoon, and that's because the pool is fuller. So I'm not sure that this really reflects the pool at all. And Lanny, you don't come to the pool, so you don't see what we see as John and I coming there all the time.
Because I have matches in the afternoon, I do see, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. But this is strictly what the data says. This is not a personal opinion, but I agree with you. It is much more crowded.
As I mentioned, the data collection is not perfect, but it's pretty good. It's about as good as we can get it at this point without stationing a person out there actually taking names. So I had other questions. Lindia, Chap, and then Brownie.
Well, I guess the question is, aren't we going to do a little expanded area there for additional
Yes,
seats?
that's a good point. I was going to bring that up, but we are, and Mark can talk a little bit more about that.
Okay.
Yes, and I think that was John Mulligan's recommendation along with some others.
Right, and
So-
that's, I guess my only thing about any of these things in here, and there's one item in here that I totally disagree with. But I'm going to refer to a basketball analogy. So no harm, no foul. No foul, no penalty. And so the way I look at it is, I think we've proven that with a little additional seating at the pool, and the cabana only opens at 11, so you're not going to eat at 10 there because it's not open. But the greatest time to eat is during the afternoon because it's open the longest. But if we don't have a problem, I don't care about perception anymore. Actually, I think John Mulligan's got the right idea. Let's do something about this perception. But if there's no foul and there's no harm, why penalize something for no reason? I just think it doesn't make economical sense for us. And I certainly makes us look small to penalize people when it's not really a problem. So I'm very uncomfortable with that feeling.
Okay, Chap,
Lindy has said it all. I don't
Brownie,
need to say anything.
Lydia said what I was going to bring up, but my specific suggestion is, Susan, if we're going to expand that, we're going to vote on it in a minute, but when we expand that pool area, we should put out a notice to help the perception that we're doing something about the pool. In other words, we can put that extension on the pool. Most people won't notice it, so put out the word that we're doing it, because of it. So that'll help the perception as well as get more room. Okay.
That's a good point, Brownie, because we've expanded it twice over the last 12 years already, and people, probably don't remember that.
okay, let's move to your other recommendation, Lanny.
Which one are you referring to, Paul?
The
The
social
money.
memberships.
Okay. Do you want to just have discussion, or do you want me to make a motion?
Why don't you make the motion and then we'll discuss it?
Okay,
Sure.
I move the club.
Again, do them one at a time, please.
Yes,
Okay.
I move the clubhouse membership should be increased to $300 per person per year, no family rate.
I'll second, and then I have a question.
Okay, Brownie seconds. Go ahead, Brownie.
Okay, Lanny, or Susan, a couple of questions. We only got two of these. They're both single.
Correct.
Do they get a bar pass and a card or not?
Yes, because they get a barcode to get in the community.
Do they also get a card?
Yes, because they're Clubhouse members, so they have access to the multi-purpose room.
Okay, so it really gives them access to other things if they want to take advantage. They could go to the pool. My suggestion was only two of them. I recall one of them, I remember, was an ex-board member who was moving out, that the board made a special, I remember, discussion about this. But my suggestion is, yes, Cezanne, okay, it might be before you were even here. My suggestion is we grandfather these two people at $300 and just do away with club membership. We only got two of them. It's kind of a third thing we don't need. They want to use the clubhouse, fitness club, swimming pool, they have the social membership. It just makes life, I don't know how we regulate someone that has a card and a bar thing and all they're supposed to use is the clubhouse. I don't think that's a good idea.
If you compare other clubs in terms of giving access to their amenities, it's shocking what they pay to use amenities. And it's shocking to compare it with what our social memberships play.
We're talking about club.
We're talking about clubhouse memberships here.
Okay, same thing, same concept. It's
Paul, we only have two.
I understand that, two today. And getting back to Ken's concern about, people from the outside coming in, taking spaces, taking chairs, whatever. I guess my question is, why do we do that? Why are we interested in doing that? We don't need to.
Paul, aren't we
Lynn.
talking clubhouse memberships?
Yes,
Well,
Okay.
what do they get with clubhouse membership, Lanny?
with a clubhouse membership, they get an active clubhouse membership that includes dining room card playing, F&B, dining room pool, and lawn events.
Okay, so we must have more than two people because we have card players that have that club membership.
Only two currently. Cezanne ran a double check as of August. I can address some of the why questions based on what we learned in our project team meetings. It's not unusual for a Sterling Oaks homeowner who's active in card playing to move someplace nearby, either with family or into an assisted living or some other circumstance, who wants to remain socially active with their old friends here at Sterling Oaks. These seem to be the people that have the current memberships, in contrast to some of the reasons that you talked about before, Brownie. Those people are no longer
Okay, but I remember the case.
Yeah, but that's in the past.
It
There's
wasn't
the
in the
potential.
past since there was a special deal, the
Right,
price
yeah,
and
but
all
that's
that.
gone.
Yeah, I know.
There is the potential always for this to happen to more of us. We're not getting any younger. And because social relationships are so important in the elderly, we felt that this was appropriate. We're not proposing limiting it to only current Sterling Oaks members because that could get sticky, but they're the only ones who kind of know about it and want it. But we thought that they should be paying more than the current $350 for a couple or an entire family.
Well, my point is they get a card, they get a gate pass so they could use any of the amenities. They really have the same privilege as a social. That's the reason I would propose that we grandfather the two people at $300 as you propose, but we do away with any new club memberships. If someone wants to play cards, et cetera, they have to do the social membership.
All right, we have a motion on the floor now. So let's
Just to
deal with that.
Yeah,
Well,
just
I
to
can
clarify,
make
Cezanne, can
a-
they get into the pool with their card?
What's that?
I'm trying to dig into that. I have them
Okay.
set up specifically as a clubhouse member in Gatehouse. So I have to think that no, their card doesn't work to get into the pool. And certainly if it does, we can always change that. So it's a
Okay,
very
yeah.
easy thing to do. And their barcodes are limited for a specific times. So you can't get in here at 4 o'clock in the morning like a non-resident tennis member to use the fitness center. You can only get in here once the clubhouse opens at 9 and I think till 5. So your barcode is only limited during like clubhouse hours.
I don't understand why we need this low membership for this special one thing.
Like Laney said, we do have a lot of the ones that utilize it are, you know, Linda's 4th person that they need for bridge that comes in here every single week.
Okay, I will make a motion to amend the motion that was made, that we change the fee for club membership to $300 only for grandfathering the 2 current members and eliminate any club memberships in the future. Make that motion.
Well, I don't think we've
As an
had
amendment.
sufficient discussion about this thing, and we're launching into something completely different here. I think we should finish the discussion on this issue, and then if you need to amend it, fine.
No, we
But
don't.
I think we
amend
have
it
to.
before we vote on it, okay?
I think we have to talk about charges. Number one, whether or not the discussion in the committee went whether or not we even wanted to continue with these. And number two, what do these social members pay in terms of
No,
when we
Clubhouse.
renovated?
Club members we're talking about, not the social.
Okay, clubhouse members. What did they pay in terms of renovation of the clubhouse? Relatively nothing. And part of the discussion that we had was, how do these outside members pay for our amenities? The homeowners pay for all the amenities at this point, and yet people from the outside come in and enjoy them. It doesn't seem proper or fair. So part of the discussion was, let's raise the price on these things. The committee decided not to scrap them. That was a hot discussion at the time, but they did talk about raising the price of these things. So we haven't talked about that yet.
Let's separate club and social. I'm basically saying, let's only
agree.
have social. We don't really need the club. You're putting them together. I'm not proposing to do away with the social or not raising the price. But I don't know why we should have this membership for 2 people where they basically get everything as a social for $300 instead of $1,200.
Chap.
I'm dealing just with clubhouse membership now. I'm dealing with that subject. As far as I can tell, given the limitations of what a clubhouse member is entitled to, I don't see any reason to discontinue it, and I'd be in favor of raising it to $300 if that's what you want to do.
You see, could I add something?
Go ahead.
They don't get the pool with
Right,
this. They only get if there's dining, if there's food at the pool, if the cabana is open late, they can go to the pool and eat. So basically they come in mostly for card playing. They're older people. Some of them do not live here, but they like to get something to eat at the cabana and they play cards. Or it doesn't include, if you look at the little graph that we've got, the membership comparison, there are 2 check marks on Clubhouse, Face and Book, or Face and Facebook, sorry, Food and Beverage, and to play cards or mahjong. And I don't know why you would turn down $300 or $350 or whatever it is for people who use it so little. What? I
don't think anyone is. I think the recommendation is just to raise the amount that they're paying.
I mean, most of them are older. They don't play any sports anymore, and nor are they swimming.
And no one is saying do away with it. That was discussion in the committee, but the committee decided, let's just raise the amount. If they were to do this at Vasari or the Vineyards, they might be paying
absolutely.
I was just dealing with 2 things at once. I was just dealing with two things at once. I was dealing with the raising it from 250 to 300, which fine. And I was also trying to deal with Brownie's point of view about discontinuing it. That's all.
So the motion on the table is keep it, raise it.
That's correct.
Who are these two people? I'd like to know, we talk about all these people come in playing the cards and like this is the give of all things. Who are these two people? There's only two people. And I'm proposing we grandfather them, we not take it away, which we raised it to 300. But why do we want to keep this, which is really a bargain, and we don't want to push it anyway? Why even have it? Make it $1,200. Someone wants to play cards, they pay the $1,200 and they get the other amenities too.
Lanny.
Brownie, the reason why the project team felt to keep it is that we recognize we have older homeowners who are actively involved in cards, games, poker, etc.
But I'm grandfathering those. There's only two of them.
Let her finish, Brownie.
Yeah.
I'm talking about people who currently are homeowners, but in the next month, year, or 2 years, they may need to move to an assisted living facility, but they still want to stay engaged with their friends here at Sterling Oaks. We value that social interaction for the elderly and see no reason that since they're not causing any harm, getting to Lydia's point, that there is no foul to Sterling Oaks by letting these people, and the only penalty is that we thought the price had been at $250 for many, many years, and that we ought to raise it a bit more so that there's reasonable compensation, but that it could happen to you or I in the next 5 years, and we recognize the importance of that.
Well, these two people are awful important. So I'd like to know who they are. Are they in assisted living homes? Is that the situation?
No, I'm referring to
Are they in
those
a bigger
people.
house? I mean, you know.
I'm referring to those people that it may happen to over the next year, 5 years, etc. Not the two that we currently have. We've had a couple of people, rotate. Not rotate, but just sequentially. There's been different people in these circumstances, and eventually they die. But it's a way to be respectful of those that, especially for bridge, where they need 4. Mahjong, you don't have to, but bridge, you have to have 4.
To me, this is not a super deal. It's not that big a deal. We've got 2 people. The amount of money is not a lot. What bothers me is the fact that I face residents in the community that says, I paid good money to renovate this clubhouse. Other people from the outside come in and they don't contribute. They get free benefit of that. Therefore, we have 2 people. It's a low sum. Let's raise the sum a little bit so I can respond to residents and say, yes, these outsiders are beginning to pay more and more for their amenity use, and I'll feel a lot better about it.
That sounds good to me.
So we have that motion
Paul,
on the table. Yes, go ahead, Lynn.
And Paul, you have to think about it. Let's go back to some tennis members. There are people who play tennis here and have formed a lot of friendships, and they play cards. And they still like to eat with their old buddies. And that would mean that they can't. If that's why I think raising the price is a good idea. But gee, they are not costing us anything. And really, frankly, we could get around that. If they didn't join, if there weren't any memberships, we'd phone them in as guests, or we'd go play in our houses. We wouldn't go up to the clubhouse. We wouldn't have lunch. We wouldn't have a drink. We would just take them home.
Yeah, that's why I say the issue itself is not that big a deal. But again, the perception out there, I would like to face our neighbors and say, we're doing something about it. So if there are no other questions or concerns, let's restate the motion.
I move that Clubhouse membership should be increased to $300 per person per year, no family rate.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye and or raising your hand. Okay, all opposed? Brownie opposes. I don't see John Mulligan.
Mulligan had to leave to go get his grandkids, but I think
He's on the
He had to
phone.
go. He had to leave, I think.
He's on the phone, but we're emailing, so I'll get his vote. But either way, it would still be approved.
Okay, motion carries.
He's
Next
talking to
motion.
General Motors about some commercial paper.
Commercial paper.
Next motion. I move that social memberships should be increased to $1,200 per person per year, no family rate, no guests, continue the limit of 10. As I noted, the current rate is $1,000, $1,350 for family. This was initially developed to encourage dining at Sterling Oaks and credit those fees towards FB&A. It's currently being used by lap swimmers, pickleball players, and fitness center users. In addition, a couple who is looking to purchase a home has bought a social membership. Some, but not all, use FB&A. The project team considers the current rate too low for using all these amenities. The project team does not think we should offer discounts for entire families. We understand that a member would not be able to bring a spouse to dine unless they are a guest of a homeowner or tenant. We are not trying to increase this membership, period.
And again, for all the reasons stated before, outside members have not contributed to the renovations of the clubhouse or any of the amenities for that matter. And this is one means by which we can explain to our neighbors that they are now contributing to some extent. And as Lanny says, we're not looking to expand this number. We don't want more people using our amenities from the outside. We have enough trouble regulating amenity use ourselves as residents. So let's increase the price and limit the amount of outside people that can come in and use the amenities. Currently, they can invite 4 guests. So you multiply the number of social members we have times 4 guests, and suddenly you've got a significant number.
Could I ask
a question?
Chap, Ken, then Lynn.
How many social members do we have that are right now
9
that are paying the family rate?
that are paying the family rate. Hold on. 5 of them are families.
Because the data in.
I know the data is different than what is actual today.
Oh, it's
I
now
have
5 now.
updated numbers. I have 9 social memberships, 5 of them which are families. The only comment I want to make is not allowing families is going to take those 5 and they're going to now buy tennis members at a cheaper rate. And the income is going to be realized under tennis and not under food and beverage in the social atmosphere in which they use.
Well, that's what I was getting at. I question the need to eliminate the family membership.
Because you
the
can
family social membership.
multiply 9 times 4.
They
And
don't bring 4.
well, you talk to your neighbors about that, and that's what they see out there. They see 9 social members that can bring in 4 guests at any given time. And these guests have the same option and access that they have to all the amenities.
I'm not complaining. I'm not against that. What I'm against is eliminating the family.
A husband and a wife.
Well, or 5 kids. You know, one of the major concerns from the project team committee is having these social members use this as a pool membership for large families.
And we get back to Ken's concern about what happened to all the chairs.
Right. You know, that the area of concern greatest for these outside members is the pool chairs in particular. And we felt that that the rate structure that we have is too low for a pool membership for a family. And so you see our recommendation there.
And again, if you compare amenity access at Sterling Oaks compared to almost any other community, it's shocking, the difference, shocking. Let's go to Lindia and then Ken.
So this is a social membership, and dining is very social. I think it's on #1 list of the most sociable thing you can do is eating and drinking. And you're going to say that the person who buys this membership can't bring his wife, if it's a guy or a spouse or his partner.
Correct.
He can't come. He can't come and eat. So if he comes to eat, he's got to say to his wife, sorry, honey, but I'm going over to Sterling Oaks for dinner and sit with my social friends, but you can't come.
Unless he's a guest of a homeowner. He could come as a guest of a homeowner.
Well, you see, that's the point, Lanny. So why not just take the money and just say no families, no kids, but certainly they should be able to bring someone to talk to while they eat.
Well, that's like selling a tennis membership and say, I'm going to bring my wife to play with me.
They can bring a guest.
For tennis?
But again, Linda,
Theoretically, yes.
If you pay, right.
yeah, Linda, we're not looking to bring people from the outside who would need to bring a companion to dine here. We're not trying to increase that. We're just trying to accommodate people who are connected to us for another reason. Again, it's often people who used to live here, who want to live here in the future, et cetera, et cetera. And that, we're not a restaurant.
And we don't want to, essentially, we don't want to promote this. We're allowing it to continue, but we're not trying to promote this, and we need to send that message. I promised Ken that he would go, then we'll go to John Mihok and then Chad.
I don't get it.
I got a very basic question. We're saying raise the social membership to $1,300 and no families. However, the same person could go and become an Oaks tennis member for $910 for a family and have all the privileges of everything on the list. That doesn't make any sense to me. All of a sudden, you're saying, well, we'll just switch it over to the tennis. Why, if we're going to offer it to tennis, everything, and everything on the list is checked, and yet for the social members, nothing is checked.
Only after 3 p.m. You have to read the fine print. They can't use anything before 3 p.m. So they're not allowed in the pool before 3 p.m. And their cards.
Go over, Lanny, then go over and say, all right, I want $1,300 for an individual, no families, and yet for $1,700, I can come in anytime. No limitation as a family. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't sound like we're really being fair.
Laney's not connected anymore.
What happened?
She must have accidentally hit the X button.
Okay,
I'm sure she'll be back.
She'll be back. Well, this discussion we had originally, that was some of my concerns. Why are we even selling our amenities to begin with? If we have an afternoon tennis program, let's just send a membership for tennis and forget the rest. Why are we doing that? But this went around and around, and what you have is the document before you and the recommendations of the committee. Let's go to John Mihok and then Chad.
Yeah, this issue came up about 2 or 3 years ago. And part of it was to try to entice people to come over when they were putting up those new apartment buildings and get them to come in, see our facilities. Maybe they'd become tennis members. And at the time, I didn't agree with it. and my feeling hasn't changed. We're talking about 10 memberships, and we're talking about $10,000 a year, which was opened up to families. And my point is $10,000 really worth the aggravation that this has prompted for us?
Yeah, again, this is like the other issue. I don't see it as a huge deal for us. I see it as more of a perception thing. And I want to be able to tell our neighbors that we're doing something about the contribution to our amenities. And we're trying to control the heavy use of our amenities, and that we're coming in line with other communities who charges a huge amount more than we do for amenity use in their neighborhoods.
Why don't we just get rid of them, Paul?
Well, I think they serve some benefit. It's not that big a factor. I think on an individual basis, it helps some of our residents who appreciate the fact that they have this relationship, as Lanny suggested earlier. And that's a positive thing for our residents. But to promote it any further than it is now, I'm not for that at all. But I think, again, similar to the other issue, we allow it to continue, we raise the price. Therefore, we don't promote it, and we have an answer for our neighbors when they say, what are you guys doing?
Right.
Cezanne, one more time, Cezanne. How many family social memberships do we have now?
Currently, you have 5.
Okay. Just so you know where I stand, and you want to pick my brain, figure out why, that's fine. I have no problem increasing these rates. I have a problem with eliminating the family memberships for 2 reasons. Number one, I think we're getting carried away with trying to deal with perceptions. And number 2, I would suspect you're going to lose these people.
They'll buy tennis memberships.
Yeah, if we lose them, what's the issue? There's no issue if you lose them. We don't need them.
All depends what's money to you and what isn't.
Right. This is
$13.50 times 5 is $7,000.
Number one, I don't think we're going to lose them. If we lost 1 or 2, it's insignificant in terms of our total budget.
Right. You know how I feel. I'll vote no on this proposal.
Okay.
Lanny said her iPad died, and it's she's trying to plug it back in, and she'll rejoin.
Well, she can call in. Browning.
Here, maybe to socially dine or pickleball.
Okay. So, I mean, to me, if we're going to have social memberships, we should have the family one. If we want to eliminate them, I wouldn't have any trouble with that altogether. But single membership for a social thing just doesn't make sense. People have wives, they have children.
And they use all our amenities.
The guests, but I'm with Chap. If we're going to have social memberships, we should also have some kind of discounted family one, even though we raise the price for the family.
And that's where I differ, because you could bring in 4 guests, you can bring in your whole family.
You didn't hear me. I said no guests. I said just family.
Okay, that's good. Family. Still, you have 5 kids around that pool, and we're just talking about the pool now. That says nothing about pickleball and
How
the other
many-
amenities we have. And you invite 4 guests to pickleball or your family members.
Well,
And already it's crowded.
Family members, guests, or anything. We've got people coming in here playing pickleball that aren't anything. Okay, if you want to work that problem, maybe not very many, but we're talking.
I'd rather scrap the social memberships than allow a social membership plus families plus guests. That's crazy.
No guests. Take out guests.
Everybody agrees, no guests.
How many have families, Cezanne? Children.
I don't know that information. I mean, are there more than 2 people? Like, am I giving a card to a
Yeah.
teenager that lives inside the home? No, I don't have any of
Okay.
those. These are
Okay,
just
it's
husband and
basically-
wives.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the family is. I
Yeah.
think we're exploding this way too big. It's
And
It's
our
put no
family
guess.
memberships, regardless, even with tenants, if they're over the age of 18, I believe they have to buy their own membership. So a family child would just include a dependent at that time.
okay.
Okay,
We don't get a
Cezanne,
whole lot of young people in here.
A couple of us.
yeah.
Well, just you, John. You never age.
So Cezanne, let's review the motion.
Hold on one second, let me click there. The motion I have currently stands to approve the social memberships to increase to 1,200 per person per year. No family, no guests, continue the limit of 10.
Okay, can I have all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. All those who
No.
are all those who are not in favor signify by saying nay.
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 Hey,
Nay.
Okay,
Thank you.
motion fails.
We want a family membership.
Okay,
I think the solution, Paul, is to, I think the nays were because of the eliminating the family membership. So I think the solution here is to come back with a number to which we're going to increase the family membership. In other words, we've taken singles from 1,000 to 1,200. Now, if we're going to keep the family, we should take it from 1,350 to something, 1,600. I don't know.
Mhm.
is that a motion?
And no guess. Make that a motion.
Well, I would make, I mean, if you want that in the form of a motion, I just
Yeah,
made up the
make the motion.
1,600.
That sounds good to me.
And no guess. No
And no
guess.
guess.
Right.
Okay, social membership at 1,600, no guess. Any further discussion?
1,600 for a family, 1,200 for a single, no guess.
Okay, all in favor of that motion signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
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 All those who oppose signify by saying nay. Raise your hand.
Hey,
John and Ken.
Um,
What's
Well,
the
it's a-
number, Cezanne?
I'm still typing the motion. So I got disapproved was just Mulligan and Swallen.
Oh,
You
No,
said
John
John.
Miho. John
Miho.
Miho.
Okay. So it would be 6-2, motion passes.
So if Lonnie said no, it'd be 6-3.
Okay.
Well,
Lanny?
she's not part of the meeting, so
She is on the phone or on the tablet that says Dawn.
oh. Did she respond?
Lanny. And I'm sorry, I did not hear from Mulligan then also.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
yep,
Yeah, I voted.
So,
Can you hear me now?
yes.
yep.
Yeah, I voted yes on that.
Thank you.
All right, so the motion carries
Yes.
as is.
Correct.
Okay, good. Now, are there, see if you can connect to Lanny and see if there's any other motion on this issue. I don't think there is, but
I can try to get a hold of her and we can come back to it.
I'm on Don's computer.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
yes.
Okay, I don't have all my documents in front of me though, is my problem because we're in different rooms. I would like the board to approve the other considerations if, that are below those motions, Suzanne, if you could
Sure.
read them.
It was just saying that food and beverage should consider holding more popular events with long waiting lists on multiple days. Fewer indoor events accommodate all those who wish to attend. Management should continue to reinforce proper procedures with gate guards regarding entry for amenity use. The pickleball committee will continue to reinforce compliance with other guest rules. If homeowners continue to complain about inadequate seating at the pool, the board should explore building another pool in the condo area via the strategic plan.
Woo-hoo, woo-hoo. Yeah, baby.
So I
Put two. Vote by the board.
So I don't think, I don't think that these need a vote, but I wanted to know if there were any of these that the board disagrees with, and then management would not follow those.
Well, yeah.
Well, putting a pool in, I would
I
disagree with.
disagree with one, Lanny.
Oh, come
Me
on.
too.
I think we can solve the pool seating problem without building another pool.
Well,
I
Well, yeah, I
agree.
mean, that
Like
wasn't
the
on the
idea.
table. That wasn't on the table when the project team met, or they weren't aware of
I say
it.
we expand
Okay,
Wildcat
fine,
pool
fine,
much
never,
larger.
fine.
Okay.
What was that,
Okay.
Mark?
Yeah, I don't like that, the way it's worded. We know some homeowners are gonna approve, are gonna continue to complain. So it says if homeowners continue to complain, we'll do that. Well, we know there's gonna be some homeowners, so I couldn't go along with that.
Let's
Right.
do this. Cezanne, let's read those prior ones, leave the pool thing out for now. And I would like the board to say, yes, we agree with these concepts.
Sure.
Or that you don't.
To summarize, the concepts would be for food and beverage to explore holding more popular activities on multiple days.
Could we stop right there?
Go ahead,
Could
Lynn.
I say something right there on
Go
this
ahead.
one? First of all, the most popular activities are the ones that we have to book a band for and pay ahead of time. And it's a lot of money, and you have to guarantee them, you have to pick those dates. So let's say the band is 5,000. Well, it's going to be a good band. You don't know. You won't really know till the night. But anyway, if you think it's going to be a good band, are we going to spend 10,000 and book it 2 nights? I don't think so. I mean, some of those things are just impossible to do. The most popular events are generally the ones with music, and the music has to be booked a long time ahead, and it's expensive.
We discussed this in length, probably prior than you joined the project team. And we agreed that Nicole and Mark and the activities committee do a wonderful job at considering multi-day events as needed. As like the review back a few years ago, we would hold that, on 4 or 5 days to do it. Sometimes I think murder mystery has been 2 nights in a row.
Right.
Trivia we hold multiple times a year. So if it's feasible, Nicole and the activities committee definitely try to do so. Obviously, with a $5,000 band cost, that might not be feasible.
Right.
What are the others, Cezanne?
Hold more events outdoors, which I think we've seen the F&B staff do to try to get more attendees. We will keep working with the gate guards to ensure that they are doing their job and only letting people on premise that are supposed to be here and recording the entries for amenity use. We're working on this project team was Pat Wolf, and we're aware that over upcoming, we're going to be working with the pickleball committee to make sure that all pickleball players are reinforcing the guest rules there, and that those that need to buy an appropriate membership to keep utilizing that. And then, yeah, that was it. This last one's a pool.
So I think we can all agree with those, and we can talk about the new pool, Brownie's new pool in the condos another time.
Yeah.
We can all go to John's. He's got another pool.
We can go to
We already all did when this.
You can invite everybody to your pool, John.
Yeah.
Brownie. Don't be dropping those ideas.
Okay.
I just want you to know that condo pool was never my idea. Good
Okay.
God.
Paul,
That's just silly.
Paul, the next thing I want is support for the recommendations for the communications committee. Or in particular, if anyone has any heartburn with any of those, we should discuss them.
Okay, rattle those off, please.
Oh,
Suzanne?
Hold on, I'm opening it back up. There's a
Okay.
lot of them. I'm just gonna try to summarize them because it's like a full page here. Some of the topics for the communications committee is to communicate that renters have legal rights here, that they're not less entitled to the amenities, that they have equal rights when they're approved, that Sterling Oaks was established as Sterling Oaks Community Association and Club.
Cezanne, let me interrupt you for a
Yep.
minute. I want to give a little preamble to this. We've had a large number of new residents that have come in over the past 3 years, a good number of them last year.
Yeah, that's down.
And we've had what I consider a perception problem out there for a number of years. You may or may not agree with me, but one of my thoughts was, why do we not have a packet for prospective buyers and for realtors in the area when they're selling property in Sterling Oaks? They should know and be aware of the things that Cezanne is about to itemize for you. Because oftentimes you'll say, well, this person is complaining all the time. Didn't they know this when they bought in the community? Well, obviously they didn't. So I think it would behoove us to put a packet together or some sort of communique so that they know what Sterling Oaks is all about before they buy here. So Cezanne, begin again, please.
Sure. Well, to hit on that, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm sure Mr. Hargreave will comment to it, but the communications committee is already working on such document, and they'll get this sheet to make sure that these points are added, that we can give potential buyers what is Sterling Oaks and what are you buying into document, so they're aware of these things. Sure. So, and then to add on to, I'll go down to the point that that we wanted to communicate that most people do not know all of our new neighbors. In 2020, 66 homes were sold. In 2021, we had a record of 101. And so far this year to date, I have 41 sales. So we want to communicate that. The other point is homeowners and renters are at least 72 to 94% of the participants at the events, users of the pool, pickleball, and fitness center. Club members and guests are about 6 to 28% of these participants, that their fees, kind of help offset HOA fees. Tennis at Sterling Oaks is not bundled, so homeowners have 3 options. If they don't play tennis, you don't have to pay for the court usage. If you want to play on occasion, you can with a small court fee. Or if you play frequently and want unlimited use, you can purchase a membership. Activities and events have limited spot for attendance due to multiple factors: location, the food served, and possibly limited staff. F&B staff has to clarify that some events may reach capacity only at the last minute. No one can expect to be able to get a reservation at the last minute. And then the last point was building space is limited in Sterling Oaks and new amenities may be restricted. Yeah, that was it.
I don't have a
Michael.
problem with any of that.
Michael.
okay, well, this communication committee is currently working on the document for real estate people or for potential new homeowners. They're also working on other process to communicate on a regular basis. I will bring this document to them. There's an awful lot of stuff in here. We certainly would not want to put this all out in one batch of information.
Good point.
I think there's some ideas in these recommendations that can be used throughout the year to enhance the communication with our homeowners. So work is in progress. The fact committee is meeting this coming week to continue on with this process.
Very good. Lanny, back to you.
Okay, I think that's it. right, Suzanne? I don't, again, I still don't have my document.
One,
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we wanted to take this document and these recommendations and have the communications committee help us work on how to address the perception that this project team worked on. So I know with the help of the communications committee, we can address the perception and what we've done to in some of the data.
Suzanne and Michael, one minor editorial point. Under that tennis thing, make sure you say they can purchase a tennis club membership. It says club membership. Since we have a club membership, we don't want to confuse that.
Absolutely.
Put the word tennis in before club.
Yep,
Right,
no
we
problem.
also want to
In that
encourage
paragraph
tennis.
about the tennis. You got it?
Right.
Okay. Okay. Mark, did we cover the pool paver ceiling issue?
No, we waited till now.
No.
You're on.
Last. So here's what I'll just give you a preamble. In the last page of the packet that you have, you see the first part, the pool extension. That's the to come out east into the new paver area, and that's at that 6385. The other part that I am waiting on is the fence portion. They're going to be able to use, the one side of the whole fence and just move it out, but they need the two other sections to move back to it. I'm waiting on a quote. I've been asking for it for I don't know how many weeks. If I can't get it from Russ Carter, I'm going to go to another company. I can't see that it's going to be more than about $5,000 or $6,000 for that that whole fence removal and installation of the other. Maybe the board could give me a not to exceed price for that. And then the pool clean and seal is going to be something that is probably very beneficial to after the pool resurfacing project is done, to have that whole paver deck redone completely.
Let me help out here on this one, because I'm not against this at all. The first part, pool extension, sounds like a great idea. There's two elements to it. Number one is putting down new pavers. And number two is we're going to have to re-fence. Correct, Mark?
Right.
I would suspect the total cost of that, including the fencing, is going to be in the neighborhood of 15,000.
Yeah, probably a little less, because I think Mark is high on the fencing, but I think we should go with a not to exceed concept.
I have to remove the existing landscaping. That's why.
So how much do you think we need to have in a to not exceed amount, Mark?
15.
15? Okay.
Is that a motion, chat?
No, I got a
I
question.
move that we approve a pool extension, including new pavers for the extension and new fencing to accommodate the extension for a price not to exceed $15,000.
I'll take a second, then we'll go to John Meehoke for discussion. Ken Swallen seconds. John Meehoke.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard about the extension of the pool. What direction is the extension going to take place at?
East.
Toward the clubhouse.
Yes.
Towards what?
The clubhouse.
It'll be the east side of the pool where there's like a small landscaping bed where we've already extended it before.
Okay, that doesn't have any interference with the bocce courts or any of that
No.
stuff, right?
No, not at all. Not moving that way at all. It's just moving into the new paver area, still giving plenty of room to get out of and around the whole bottom of the stairs and all that area. That's all going to be okay. This is going to be a 15 by 35 enclosed, area.
Mark, how many chairs will that add?
About 20.
Okay.
This is Lanny. I still need, since we haven't seen the drawing, I still need a better idea. You said, so it's not going to encroach on the sidewalk between fitness and the stair. Is that correct?
That's
Nothing's
correct.
changing. Nothing's changing there. Okay, when we move over to the area between the pool and the multi-purpose room, it's going to go into that area?
It's gonna move towards, it'll move mostly, it's in the area where the new pavers are. It'll go along the sidewalk, where if you're gonna be walking towards courts 8 and 9 on that sidewalk, and you
Right,
get to the edge of the pool fence, you'd get to the edge of the pool fence 15 feet earlier than you did before.
okay, so toward the multi-purpose room.
Yes, but it won't get into that little area because I'm not doing it all the way from the gate. I'm gonna leave a landscaping bed there. And I'm leaving the palm trees as well, and they're gonna go around those so that we have shade.
So it's not gonna be rectangular, it's gonna have like a bump out.
No, it'll be rectangular, but
I mean,
yes, there'll be a little pocket because we didn't want to encroach close to the stairs there. We want to
Right.
leave a little buffer.
Right.
Yeah, so there's going to be a little buffer of landscaping there to keep it a green space and a buffer for that area. Yes.
Do we have a schematic of what it's gonna entail? Do we have
I
a
can draw
drawing?
one.
Hmm?
No, I've got one. I can make one though. It's 15 feet coming out and 35 feet long. I can do a quick sketch for you, but you want?
It's
Well,
pretty
I was just
straightforward, right?
curious- I was just curious as how it interacts with the existing stairway and that kind of stuff, Mark.
Here, I'll just do a quick down and dirty. Here, hold on. Here's the gate. Here's the stairs. Here's the thingy. There's landscaping. Come out.
You guys
here.
have seen Mark's drawings before,
Oh
right?
yeah, you guys are ready. Okay, here we go. Ready? So if this is the stairway where you'd walk down, and there's the
Okay.
gate to get into the pool, and then here's like the landscaping that's near it. We'd leave this little landscaping. We'd start 15 feet out here and go this way over towards the sidewalk. So
Which is towards the bocce courts, right?
yeah, but it would
But on the
only-
north side of the sidewalk.
It'd only be on the north side of the sidewalk. Yeah, you'd still have the same sidewalk and that whole paver area. They'd just take off a little bit of one of those little two green mounds that are out there. So you wouldn't be losing much at all. And you'd still have plenty of space to get in and out of the pool around that whole area and have that little bit of landscaping buffer as well in the corner.
Mark, does the gate get moved?
What?
Does that entrance gate get moved?
Nope. No.
So it's kind of gonna look like it's been added on, but you still think it's gonna be worth it.
I think what we do is you're gonna see that it'll blend in with the paving. We'll have that definitively be able to have some landscaping put there so that it'll help out all the way around. I think that it's just going to be an extension of the pool area, which everybody's been waiting for, and it's the only land that we have available for it right now.
Well, it's a little time sensitive in as much as we have the contractors there and working, so we should take that as an opportunity.
All
So,
right, so can you all see this little picture?
Yes,
There's the pool. All right. Do you see here where the stairs come down? There's that multi-purpose room door,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
that was the fitness store.
Well, that's the multi-purpose room door right there below the stairs, right there.
Right.
Over here is where you go underneath the fitness, right?
Other vice versa, Mark, but yes.
Vice versa, sorry, right. Yes, that's the fitness room. There's the multi-purpose room over here, sorry.
Yes.
Right? So Okay. You see how that little line goes out? That's what the extension would be.
Bring
But
it closer to your face.
Okay.
That's better.
So see, I would leave that little corner of the existing. There's the gate. There's a little existing, and then we'd move that way. And that's just 15 by 35.
And tell us again, Mark, why it's propitious to make this move now.
Because the pools, because everything's under construction. I think that, you know, prior to season, we know that everybody's waiting for it, more chairs. I think that this just gives us an opportunity to be really able to provide the community what it wants for its main amenity structure.
We're gonna have to buy more chairs.
20?
And has there been a decision about what the new chairs are? I've never heard anything about that.
Oh, these aren't, we've just used the chairs we have. You guys haven't decided if you want new chairs or not. There, Cezanne gave me another good picture. All right, there you go. See the black lines?
Yeah.
There, that's what it looked like.
Well, we're gonna have to buy new chairs. I mean, there's no sense extending the pool deck if we add no chairs.
You have plenty of chairs. You'll fill it up. I've got them stacked on the sides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've
Mark-
got plenty of chairs to fill it up.
Mark, hold that up again, because as soon as Chad started talking, it was gone.
Bye-bye.
And Mark, you have to talk because we still see Chad.
What? Oh, sorry. Now you got it. And the palm trees we'd leave the palm trees just like we have in the other areas of the pool.
And what will you do with that grass area that now kind of doesn't fit because the fence is so close to it? Do you see? What about paving that too?
This is before the new pavers.
And we don't have that oval grass there?
No,
Okay.
that's all gone. In fact,
Okay.
all this is gone.
Oh, that's, okay.
Yeah, that's an old
That's all
picture, but
forward
it's the
now.
only one I had. Area.
Right.
It's
Okay.
the only overhead view we've got right now.
Okay.
So, all right.
Okay, let's take a vote on this.
Yeah, Cezanne, read the motion.
Sure. Mr. Colucci made a motion to approve the pool expansion project in the amount not to exceed of 15,000.
Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Aye.
any disagree? Motion passes unanimously. Or Lanny, I didn't get your vote.
Aye.
Okay,
All right, I'll
All
make
right.
another motion now to deal with the second issue.
go ahead.
I move that we approve hiring Gigi, correct, Mark?
Yes.
Gigi to machine wash all the existing pavers, resand the entire area, apply 2 coats of premium paver sealer, make whatever minor repairs are necessary for $21,000.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Michael Hargraves seconds the motion. Will these people do the extension also, Mark?
They are the same people that will do the pavers of the extension, yes.
Yes, that's why it's propitious to do all of this now. Okay, we have the motion, a second. Any further discussion about this? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by raising your hand and or saying aye.
Aye.
Lanny?
Aye.
This is a big deal, you know, in
Motion
terms of
passes.
dealing with what I think most of our residents want. This is good stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Good. It's a good opportunity, a good time to make the move, in
Yeah,
my
I
view.
got one question about the pool.
Go ahead, Brownie.
Mark,
Yes.
I look at that every morning and I'm really shocked how much work they're having to do. Have they found anything of, you said worse, more, but anything of real concern?
Yeah, some oil tanks, I think.
You know, I mean, that we might,
Nothing, I mean, honestly, they said happens with a lot of pools that are of that age. It just had a lot of leaks, cracks, delamination, and so they're repairing everything in there. But it definitely needed to be done. He said, you definitely did the right thing by getting this ready to go, because you would have been losing a lot of water over time, because there's some cracks in the foundation, in the pool deck wall, and also down on the floor of the underneath. Actually, some of the flooring was leaking, pushing up the bottom of the pool. So it was a good thing we did what we did.
yeah, I could see there was lots of repair. I was shocked how much repairing.
Linda,
When you get to old business, are you gonna do old business or new business?
we did that already.
You
But
did,
what do you have in mind?
I don't know, I just forgot it. Let me think.
You better think quickly.
Been a long day. Oh,
Dated-
I know what I was gonna say. I got it. Yeah, it had to do with the pool. I was gonna say, so now that we're getting close to the end of the pool and Mark says that that area has been done and that now should the project team or whoever's gonna work on this start thinking about what's gonna go on top of it so little kitties don't crawl all over it?
You're talking about the island.
We're gonna do a statue of Mr. Goodrow.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't
thought
think
it was
so.
gonna be, I thought it was gonna be Mark.
I think it's going to be
Yeah.
more, it'll look like Bullwinkle or Rocky.
Yeah.
Maybe a big bear.
There you
No,
go.
but seriously, they should get going on that because it has to be ordered and
Someone had
Who?
suggested last time.
Who needs to get going on this, Linda?
whoever's gonna be picking the sculpture.
Paul, I think you should,
You did such a good job on the fountain. Why
I'd
don't
work
you-
on it.
Huh?
I would work on it.
Well, let's put you in charge.
You're in charge.
Got it.
Okay.
I think we
Remember,
should
vote
put,
yes.
No matter
I
what
vote
you
yes
do,
to that.
Lydia, what we do, there will be a lot of complaints about it.
I'm so
You
good.
have the
I'm so good at
responsibility.
taking those complaints too.
okay, gang, September 22nd at 1:30. How does that sound?
What day of the week is that?
That's a
That is a
Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday. We all good with that?
Well,
I
could
think
we
that
do it
works.
why when this meeting was originally at 1 and you changed it to 1:30, why are we going to, I prefer 1, get through a little earlier.
Well, I prefer 1:30 because we'll fall into that in a month or two. We'll be back at 1:30. So we might as well keep it that way and become accustomed to it.
Why will it, well, it used to be at 1, why 1:30? That's good.
Well, since I've been president, it's always been 1:30.
What?
It may have been 1 during Chap's reign, but it's always been
There was
1:30.
1 sometimes with you also.
But if so, it was a rarity.
All right, 1:30 is fine.
Okay. We're all set, gang. Thank you very much. Good meeting. Good seeing you all. See you on the 22nd.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
I adjourn.
Mulligan,
Yeah.
would you just, there's a suggestion I want to make to
Mark, you
you.
want to end YouTube?
Doesn't require everyone, so can you just